if you want to remove this to get inside there to get access to clean stuff, or if you need to clean this up, this spring right here is just a little round spring that fits inside here. All you do is push on that and that spring will pop out, and then there's a little J hook right there that fits into that hole. That whole thing comes off as one piece. It's really easy to do. As you can see, what I was having trouble with is my screwdriver is too little and it kept slipping off of this. Just try to get above it and just push the spring in to collapse it, and it'll come right out of that little loop. And like I said, there's just a little J hook on the other end that goes into the hole on the bottom there. Remove both of those. This, in order to remove that, pull it down to release the pressure, basically into the takedown position. Push down on the little part that it's releasing. Push down on that to relieve the pressure, and then that'll just push right out. Takes a little bit of coordination, but that'll pull out. If you look inside the hole here, you'll see this piece as that comes down. That piece inside there that's sliding up and down. That piece fits into this groove, this cutout on the bottom of this lever. Magazine release is next. Magazine release on the Bersa comes off just like it does on a 1911. Take that screw, push in on it to release the pressure and line up the hole, and that screw will turn and lock into position, and then that whole thing comes out as one piece. You'll see this is what you were turning right here. Once you have it out, you can turn it back to realign it to the position that it was in, and you can take those apart to clean them. Just make sure you don't get those two separated and lost. Next part, this will be the last part that I take off, is the magazine stop, or the slide stop. And if you look in there, you can see this spring. That spring kind of forms an X right there. And then there's a cutout in the frame and a cutout in the slide stop lever. That spring just needs to come out of both of those, and that whole thing will just slide right out. Once you get those springs uncrossed, alright, as you get that out, you can see that that spring, they just make an X and fits into the cutout here and the cutout on the frame. So once you release the tension on them, the spring come off, and then that whole piece will then just pop right out of the frame. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take off the trigger. In order to take the trigger off, pull that pin right there. And with your starter punch, tap it out to the back side. Oh, different size. There we go. What I do is I just have some holes in my table. Just line that pin up with the hole. Let the pin fall in my hand, that way I don't lose the pin. Okay, as you can see, pulling that pin, release the tension on that whole system, the spring just falls out, the trigger will just fall out right behind it. The only thing that leaves left is the barrel, this plunger and spring, and then the trigger safety. Or the trigger lock, I should say. This is just a lock that you put it in the safe position and it locks the trigger for controlling children.